Today's video is about why Beti PTV Skinny Program is not a diet and it's a lifestyle. Welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. It's always lovely to have you here. So let's talk a little bit about what the Beti Be Skinny Program is. Firstly, you're probably thinking, how did you come up with this name? Well, I wanted something that would really reach out to a lot of people, and I know that if people are looking for weight loss, they may not necessarily go to a healthy diet. They'll go to anything that promotes weight loss. So that's why I put in the keyword skinny in there, and you will keep losing weight until you reach your optimum weight. So you don't really have to weigh yourself. Why I do get you to weigh yourselves during this program is because I just want to see that you are tracking well, or that you're not going backwards. And if you are, or if you're not tracking, or if you're not moving the needle, or if you are going backwards, we can deep dive. But if you're losing the weight, then that is fantastic. So let's recap what the Be Skinny program is. Simply, it is a whole food, plant-based program, lifestyle. It is SOFAS free or SOS free. So that stands for salt, oil, flour, alcohol, and sugar. In other words, avoid the breads, avoid the salts, the high salty food. What can you put instead? We can use lemon, we can use spices, we can use herbs. So there's a lot of other things to replace it, and they're so much healthier. Another item the program is big on is being active. So there is a whole level dedicated to being active with the program, and it has an exercise program. And these exercise programs, there are many there. So then every 4 to 8 weeks you progress with your exercise program, so you're not sort of stagnant on the same thing, and that is really important. Another concept that's part of the program is eat only when you're hungry. So you probably have heard that breakfast is the most important meal. I will question who said that. Was it a marketing person? I think it was. I think it was a marketing person. If you are hungry in the morning, absolutely have your breakfast. If you are not hungry, then eat when you are hungry. Our body tells us when it wants food. We just respond to that. And it's far more enjoyable that rather than, forcing food in your mouth. I think it's far more enjoyable to eat when you're hungry. The other important thing about this program is the sequencing of the meals. Again, a whole level with meal prep and sequencing. So go back to that if you haven't seen it, and if you're not up to it yet, that's okay. So you've got a bit of a preview here of what's to come. So we really want to be having our big salad first. So we don't start with the rice, we start with the salad. We don't start with the potatoes, we start with the salad. We don't start with the fruit, we start with the salad. So look at what you have for your meal and start with the salad. You got it? The salad is to be huge. Go for your life. Now, the problem here is that I find, you go to those big salad bars and they look so healthy, but I really question, what are they putting on the salads? So if you look at the salads, they've got the kale, they've got the spinach, they've got the lettuce, they've got the beans. Awesome. Sometimes they have the meat, which we don't really want, but they have the really great core ingredients. But then they're drizzling it with question mark. And that is the biggest problem of eating at those salad bars. So even though they are fantastic, well, are they really? Because they've got all this oil and dressing on them. We don't know, because we look at what's the main part of the salad, but we don't look at the dressing, and the dressing can actually be far more fatty and far more calorically dense than the salad itself. So always opt to have the dressing separately, and a lot of those salad bars, they've just pre-made it, so it's just there. So that's why do avoid going to those places unless you can regulate the dressing. And when you do go and get the salad and it's got no dressing, you just put the vinegar. You don't put the oil dressing because that's part of the SOFAS or SOFAS or SOS, salt, oil and sugar free. We want to eliminate those things from our diet. Another thing we want to do is really target those cravings. So know yourself, know what triggers you, write it down, and be prepared. In other words, if you know that you're a chocoholic, have an alternative to chocolate. As soon as you get that craving, you are going to reach for the alternative. The alternative will be healthy. So I'm not saying, if an alternative for chocolate is another candy bar. No, an alternative for chocolate is, say, homemade oat protein balls with cocoa in them or cacao. That's an alternative. And something you've made and that doesn't have SOS in it. So especially no refined sugar and no oil. Food inventory. So this is going back to being prepared. It is so vital to your success that you are prepared with your food. Have a look in your fridge. If it's empty, then ensure that it's filled. I get excited about meal prep. I really get excited. I love watching other people's meal preps. Go onto YouTube. There are so many videos on meal prep. I think I've done a few myself, and you can see how I've done my salads, and that's great. But be creative. Have your big salads ready. So if you're eating the last salad that you've prepared in the fridge, that is the time to go grab the next salad and start preparing. Some people like to prepare just a big batch in a big container and then take out as they please. Others like to put them in their beautiful little Tupperware or, the nice containers and have it all sorted. I'm the latter, by the way. I like to have mine all sorted, and I just get so excited just by looking at all these. I'm like, yes, I know I've got, 4 salads left, so I know that will last me a couple of days. That's great. And be mindful of food safety. So when you're preparing your food, always have a clean environment. It is so vital. And don't eat something if you've had it prepped for over a week. That's not ideal. And I see a lot of these whole week meal preps. I question anything, especially with meat that's been in the fridge for longer than a week. I really question it. I don't eat meat, but you just, that is just festering with bacteria. And do you really want to put that in your body? No. So think about, okay, I'm going to be prepping every 2 to 3 days. So have that aside in your schedule. Prep for those 2 to 3 days. And that is great. So not beyond that. Clean environment, clean utensils, clean chopping board. I like the chopping board to be clean and dry. It gets wet after I use it, but clean and dry as much as possible. Really clean it. I love my chopping board. You probably saw it. It is fossilized kauri wood, which is pretty incredible. I did put it in the video in the tools. I'm so proud of that chopping board, and I've had it for a long time, and I'm very, very happy with it. But I do clean it. I do clean it regularly, as in every time after I've used it. That's regularly, okay. So, recapping everything, whole food, plant-based. That is the way to go. You can eat as much as you want. So I'm not saying you are not allowed to eat. You can only eat 100 grams of rice. No, go for it. Whole food, plant-based. Eat whole grains. Have your beans in there. So you start your big salad, followed by your cooked veggies and beans, followed by your grains and starches and carbs, so your potatoes. Go in that sequence. Stop when you are comfortably full, and always have backup for your cravings. I've been really good. I've been making these kale chips, and every time I feel like a bit of bread or chips, I just go for the kale chips. So you go, that's my target. Not the crappy food, but the target. And you'll notice that in the very first level, the whole concept is detoxing the environment. Because if it's in your vicinity, it's very likely to be in your mouth, because that's where your mind will go. I'll give you an example of what happened a little while ago. I bought a vegan mayonnaise. It's mayonnaise, for crying out loud. It's mayonnaise. Would you think, come on, is that going to be a trigger? So I bought this wonderful vegan mayonnaise. It was extremely expensive. It was in the Coles health food area. And I thought this would be great for the kids because they love mayo. But the mayo that you get from, the typical mayo is not that great. And I don't buy mayo with eggs. And that's full of sugars. This one was a little bit better, and I thought, oh, okay. But I did see that was really high in fat. So basically all oil. I gave it to the kids. They did not eat their lunches. They were not happy with it at all. What then transpired was I thought, oh God, that would be really nice to try it on some bread, because I've got some nice fresh bread. Now, I'm trying to avoid bread too because it's part of the flour. It's part of the SOFAS. We want to avoid processed foods. We want to avoid that. Would you believe my brain was going straight to thinking, I want mayonnaise on bread. Who eats that? That's just crazy town. But that's where my brain was going. What happened at the end? I gave it to a friend. I go, this cannot be in the house. This is dangerous. Why on earth would I want mayonnaise on bread? And I wouldn't think that would be a trigger for me. When I bought it, I thought, oh, great, it's for the kids, not for me. Oh, no. It was not good. So this is where I'm coming from. It could seem like a good idea for others, and you may think, okay, I can restrict myself from having it. But if your mind is always going there, note it's your trigger food and you need to take it out of your vicinity. Get rid of it. Look, if a friend or somebody from work doesn't want it, throw it in the bin. It's that simple. Interestingly, what I also like to do is I like to, anything that I now don't eat, like highly processed foods, but it's still food and I don't want to waste it, but I just don't want it in my vicinity, in my home. I take it to work and put a little post-it note saying, take one please, smiley face, and they go straight away. Just leave it in the kitchen area. They go straight away. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you like my images that I've been putting on. So I've been doing some photography there. You'd probably notice I don't show any junk food whilst I'm doing these videos. And that is simply because I don't want you to finish watching this video and have any triggers. I don't want that. And that's why I even refrain from stipulating junk food names. Like, I know I say some just to give you examples, but I don't like really deep diving and showing, especially showing, Even hearing about it's pretty bad because you start stimulating those vagal receptors. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. Why do I say this is not a diet and it's a lifestyle? It's not a diet because diets usually mean short term. Now, the word diet in itself means your diet as in how you're eating. So I think what's happened is it's come to mean something different, because when you say to people you're on a diet, well, they're always on a diet because that's their diet. But when people think I'm on a diet, they're thinking that they're doing something different to reach a goal, whether that be losing weight, gaining weight, modifying to gain muscle, or to do something different. It could be removing something to see some difference maybe with their skin, as an example. Here, this is not a diet because it's not short term for a particular goal. This is forever. Yes, forever. So does this mean that you can never have sugar ever again? Well, no, but it would be preferred if you didn't. But it means that it is something that if you do choose to eat it, you have it so rarely that you don't even think that that's part of what you would eat every day. See, the thing that's changed over the last 50 years is that cakes, biscuits, chocolates, lollies, sorry to mention them, they're easily available. It's not a thing that you just have for your, for your birthday or for Christmas or for Easter anymore. It's every day. It's so cheap. I was looking at our wonderful Tim Tam biscuits that we have here in Australia, and yes, they are amazing, but they were $1.60 at the supermarket. That is so cheap. Do you remember when they were like $3 back in the day? And they just seem to be getting cheaper. That should be more expensive to show that, hey, don't eat this all the time. Have it very rarely. And I'm not talking even once a month. I'm talking once or twice a year. That's what we should be doing with these types of foods. Now, I know with some people, if they have it once, they will have it all the time. And that's, again, not their fault. I have mentioned this before. It's not your fault. We're designed to seek out highly calorically dense foods. So if you're the type of person that, can't have one Tim Tam, needs to eat the whole packet like me, well, maybe you shouldn't have any at all. So you've got to know yourself, and you've got to know how you are with this. So that is why I say it's a lifestyle, because we're saying that this is how we eat. We always start by eating when we're hungry. Step 1, if I'm not hungry, I'm not going to eat. Step 2, when I do eat, it is damn good food. It is nice. I look at it. Actually, you know what? Everybody that looks at my food when I bring my food along, I always get comments. Always. Betty, that looks amazing. I'm like, well, thank you. Why, thank you. And then I get the comments, what are you doing? You're looking amazing. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. So, it makes such a difference. I want to tell you a little story, and then I think this will make a lot of sense as to, how we're eating now compared to how we used to eat. When I say used to eat, I'm talking again over 50 years ago. When my grandmother got married, they obviously had a wedding and they had a party, and one man saw her decades later and said to her, "Your wedding? Oh boy, we feasted at your wedding. We ate so much." He goes, "I remember that. It was a big feast." This is my grandmother's wedding, big feast. This would have been at around, late 1940s, early 1950s, that era. So post-war era, yeah. My grandmother told me, "Do you know what we had at the wedding for food?" I said, "No, what did you have?" They probably had, 50 to 100 people. They had one chicken. One chicken. That was what he considered a feast back then. Now one chicken, people just have it on a weekend as the Sunday roast for just the family, just a one-off. And it could be a family of 4 or fewer. I've seen people have half a chicken all to themselves. That's the difference. Massive difference. So where they used to eat meat very rarely, now it seems to be a very common thing. So that is why we're saying really decrease the amount of animal products, because it is calorically dense and it doesn't give you the same nutritional, impact that whole food plant-based diet would. Okay, so that's where we're coming from with that. So again, a lifestyle. You're not just changing how you're eating, you're changing what you're eating. And for the first time in, something that is, some people may consider this a diet. It's not short term, remember? It's long term. It's forever. You're eating as much as you want, because that's normal, to eat until you're full. Because if you do not eat until you're full, what happens? Those few people that can go, and just not eat until they're full and can go, mate, I tip my hat off to you, because I certainly cannot do that, and I know most people cannot. And that's what the studies have shown. So be active. Include some activity in your life where you say, okay, Monday I'm going to do, this fun aerobics class. Tuesday I'm going to do aqua class, and every day of the week I'm going to walk my dog. That is fantastic. That is fantastic because you've got that activity level in every day. Now, especially if you work in an office, you need to be getting up every hour and walking around at least. So standing up and walking around, even if it's to just, get a glass of water. So a good thing to do is not have a big jug at your desk, but have a small glass and just go up and refill it often. Very, very often. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and Betty PT